Broadcasting live and worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, my name is Joseph. How are you this Saturday morning? Going on here in just a couple minutes. Well, not even just a couple minutes. We are live now. What is good, everybody? We are going to play some more Undertale Red and Yellow today. You see the little intro screen here for it. Hope everybody's having a good day here today. Undertale Red and Yellow. I was able to use Steam, the Steam input. I had to map it over to my controller. So hopefully I'll have a little bit better control than I had over a couple of battles there. I was messing around actually playing a very poor game of Undertale because I am not used to playing on keyboard. very first time I played it on Nintendo Switch. Move this right over here real quick. Hopefully that will stay. Hopefully that will stay, and I won't have to mess with it too much. But yeah, let's continue from where we were, which was in Snowden Town. Okay. I should have probably mapped that one over to the B button instead of the X button, but that's okay. I'll check a couple things here real quick. Such as... Like, therefore, such as the Iraq. old, outdated ass joke. Well, I'm an old, outdated ass guy. There we go. Alright, let's do this. Oh, gonna be in the window. Okay. Our friend Papyrus, our friend that we literally just had a battle with. I wouldn't just screw that up too. Okay. Need to turn back this way just a little bit, I think. Yeah. There we go. So you came back to see me. You must really be serious about this. I'll have to take you someplace really special. A place I like to spend a lot of time. I wonder where we could possibly be going. My house. It's a dirty sock with a series of notes on it. Sans, please pick up your sock. Okay. Don't put it back down. Move it. Okay. You moved it 2 inches. Move it to your room. Okay. And don't bring it back. Okay. It's still here. Didn't you just say not to bring it back to my room? Forget it. Oh, it's my favorite game show. It says, stay tuned for a new program, MTT. What? It's usually better than this. This is just a bad episode. Don't judge me. Welcome to Scenic My House. Enjoy and take your time. It's a joke book. Take a look inside. Inside the joke book was a quantum physics book. You look inside. Inside the quantum physics book was another joke book. You look inside. There's another quantum physics book. You decide to stop. You touch the couch. It makes a jingling sound. You find a bunch of loose coins inside the couch. You got 20G. This is my brother's pet rock. He always forgets to feed it. As usual, I have to take responsibility. The rock is covered in sprinkles. My brother always goes out to eat, but recently he tried baking something. It was like a quiche, but filled with a sugary non-egg substance. How absurd! That's the trash can. Feel free to visit it anytime. Aha! Interested in my food museum? Please peruse my culinary art show. Half the fridge is filled with containers all labeled spaghetti. The other half contains nothing but an empty bag of chips. Impressed? I increased the height of my sink. Now I can fit more bones under it. Take a look-see. The annoying dog. What? Catch that meddling canine! Curses! Sans? Stop plaguing my life with incidental music! Looks like we missed a hell of a party underneath here. It's a photo of papyrus. Somehow, even the spaghetti in the picture has gone rancid. A single gold coin sits at the bottom of the box. Could it be the source of this travesty? Yes, from the PlayStation version. The dumpling is hardening. It's turning back into a regular dump. There's a tap that dispenses dog food. You pressed it. All that came out was dog sand. The boombox is totally fossilized. Now it can only play rock music. Ba-dum-tsh. Some kind of rejected certificate. Seems to have been rejected over and over. It seems it lost the will to fight. It's a photo of papyrus. It creaks from disuse. Door is locked with a mysterious seal. Upon closer inspection, it's actually pretty shoddily made. It'll probably naturally fall off by the time your journey is nearly over. I'm wondering how that is going to work exactly. You see, there is a boss that was specially made for the Nintendo Switch version. But I'm not playing on Nintendo Switch. Some kind of blueprint, marked with red X's. It's hard to tell if it means rejection or treasure. The rope has become brittle with rust. Seems like the more they tried to tie things together, the more frayed everything became. A classic image. It always reminds me of what's important in life. The door is locked. There's flames underneath. That's my room! If you finish looking around, we could go in and do whatever people do when they date. Hey, those are all the attacks I used on you. Great memories, huh? Seems like it was only yesterday, even though it basically just happened. That's my bed. If I ever get to the surface, I'd like to drive down a long highway. Wind in my hair. Yeah, about that, bro. Sun on my skin. Of course, that's just a dream. So instead I cruise while I snooze. Ah, yes, action figures. A great reference for theoretical battle scenarios. How do I have so many? Well, let's just say they're from a chubby, smiling man who loves to surprise people. Yeah, that's right. Santa! Isn't that flag neato? Undyne found it at the bay. Pirate Bay. I think it's from the human world. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would a human flag have a cool skeleton on it? Well, I have a theory. I think humans must have descended from skeletons. My dude. That book's one of my favorites. Advanced puzzle construction for critical minds. That next book's another of my favorites. Peekaboo with Fluffy Bunny. The ending always gets me. The internet! I'm quite popular there. Yes, me too. I'm just a dozen away from a double-digit follower count. A dozen away from double digits. Yeah. Of course, fame has a steep price. A jealous troll has besieged my online persona, always sending me bad puns in a goofy font. I think we might know who this might be. I think we have an idea who that just who that might be. So if I turn it this way, there we go. The computer's internet browser is open to a social media site. There are no skeletons inside my closet. Except me sometimes. Look at the closet. Clothes are hung up neatly inside. So, if you've seen everything, do you want to start hanging out? Begin the hangouts? Sure. Let's roll, buddy! Okay, let's hang 10. Hang out. Start. Here we are, hanging out. I've actually never done this before. But don't worry. You can't spell prepared without several letters from my name. I snagged an official hangout guide from the library. We're ready to have a great time. Let's see. Step 1. Press the C key on your keyboard for Friendship HUD. Wowie, I feel so informed. Crime statistics, population, which is that's kind of alarming. Egg. It is Saturday. It is in fact Saturday, and radar for some reason is picking up an annoying dog. I think we're ready for step 2. Step 2. Ask them to hang out. Ahem. Human, I, the Great Papyrus, will hang out with you. Let's do it, bro. Really? Wowie! I guess that means it's time for part 3. Step 3. Put on nice clothes to show you care. Wait a second. Wear clothing. That bandana around your head. You're wearing clothing right now. Not only that, earlier today, you were also wearing clothing. No. Could it be? You've wanted to hang out with me from the very beginning. Got me, bro. Damn. I have been founded out. No! You planned it all. You're way better at hanging out than I am. No, your friendship power. The power of friendship. Nyeh. Nyeh. Don't think you've bested me yet. I, the Great Papyrus, have never been beaten at hanging out, and I never will. That's because you've never tried it. I can easily keep up with you. You see, I too can wear clothing. In fact, I always wear my special clothes underneath my regular clothes. Me too, bro. Me too. Just in case someone wants to hang out. Behold. Nyeh! What do you think of my secret style? Cool, dude. Basketballs for shoulders. Mickey Mouse's shorts. Gotta admit, the kicks look pretty nice though, right? You got the little, early 90s ball cap. Tilted, to the back and a little bit to the side there. Bro, I gotta admit, bro. Love it. No! A genuine compliment! However, you don't truly understand the hidden power of this outfit. Therefore, what you just said is invalid. This hangout won't escalate any further. Unless you find my secret. But that won't happen. Move and inspect with Z. Human souls are stronger than monster souls. But the souls of our shoes, on the other hand, are about the same. Holding my hand so I'll tell you the answer? No, I must resist. I see. Like caressing my biceps with a floating heart. But who doesn't? Right? Cool, dude. This shirt didn't originally say cool, but I improved it. Expert tip. All clothing articles can be improved this way. Could it possibly be my hat? My hat. My hat! Yeah. Well then, you found my secret. I suppose I have no choice. It's a present. A present just for you. Do you know what this is? No idea. Yeah, that's right. You have no idea. So this appears to be spaghetti. This ain't any plain old pasta. This is an artisan's work. Silken spaghetti, finely aged in an oaken case. Then cooked by me, Master Chef Papyrus. Human, it's time to end this. There's no way this could go any further. You take a small bite. Your face reflexively scrunches up. Your face reflexively scrunches up. The taste is indescribable. What a passionate expression. Oh, sure. Okay. Give me 1 second here. I gotta turn this down. It is a little loud in my ears. Okay. You must really love my cooking. And by extension, me. Maybe even more than I do. Ah! No! Yes, bro. Human, it is clear now. You're completely obsessed with me. I mean, who isn't? It's Papyrus who isn't. Everything you do, everything you say, it's all been for my sake. Human, I want you to be happy too. It's time for me to express my feelings. It's time that I told you. I, Papyrus. Well, I'm flattered you care so much, but maybe cool it a little bit. You are a very nice person. I'm glad we're friends, but I think you can reach your max potential if you live more for your own sake rather than just for mine. No, bro! Bro, you my bro. You my bro, bro. 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 You my bro, bro. Bro. Hey, I know the solution. You should hang out with my boss, Undyne. I think if you spread your friend energy out more, you'll have a more healthy lifestyle. Yeah, let's be friends with Undyne. Worth a shot, right? Right? Oh, and if you ever need to reach me, here's my phone number. You can call me anytime. Platonically. Well, gotta go. Yeah. Snowden, home of Papyrus. That's the slogan, right? If not, it should be. Okay, but before we go, before we move on to the next thing. Back again. Well, stay as long as you like. How about it? Here's your room key. Make sure to bundle up. The game over theme? Hiya! Looks like you had a great sleep. Which is incredible because you were only up there for about 2 minutes. You know, like power naps. Feel free to come back if you get tired. 30 of 20. Alright, cool. The inn's a great place to stay. The lady who runs it is really nice. She always gives me a lollipop and a pat on the head. Nothing? Okay. I'm just checking because, I guess there's been, several additions to Red and Yellow. So just because it wasn't in the original doesn't mean it won't be on here. So speaking of which, who does he remind you of? Huh? Oh, an old friend of mine. Puzzles, the way he speaks, they probably like each other. Right. Let's keep going. Waterfall, huh? I know next to nothing about this place. There's water, and it falls. What else is there to know? I mean, Chara keeps it simple, right? Well, for starters, I heard the captain of the Royal Guard is stationed here. Ah, yes, you should be cautious. Well, Papyrus says we're going to be friends with them, though, right? Right? Yo! You sneaking out to see her, too? Awesome! She's the coolest, right? I want to be just like her when I grow up. Hey, don't tell my parents I'm here. All that gives my life validation is explaining the Echo Flower. No one can know. Never trust a flower. That's one of the constants of this world. The sound of rushing water fills you with determination. What? Haven't you seen a guy with 2 jobs before? Fortunately, 2 jobs means twice as many legally required breaks. I'm going to Grillby's. Want to come? Yeah. Yeah, well, if you insist, I'll pry myself away from my work. Over here. I know a shortcut. Try a shortcut, huh? Hey, everyone. Hey, Sans. Hi, Sans. Greetings, Sans. Hiya, Sansy. Hey, Sans. Weren't you just here for breakfast a few minutes ago? Nah, I haven't had breakfast in at least half an hour. You must be thinking of brunch. Here, get comfy. Whoops. Yeah, watch where you sit down. Sometimes weirdos put whoopee cushions on the seats. Anyway, let's order. What do you want? Hey, that sounds pretty good. Grubby, we'll have a double order of burg. So, what do you think? Of my brother? He's cool. Yeah, of course he's cool. He'd be cool, too, if you wore that outfit every day. He'd only take that thing off if he absolutely had to. Oh well, at least he washes it. And by that I mean he wears it in the shower. Here comes the grub. Want some ketchup? Nah, I'm good. More for me. He just downs the ketchup bottle. Anyway, cool or not, you had to agree Papyrus tries real hard. Like how he keeps trying to be part of the Royal Guard. One day, He went to the house of the head of the royal guard and begged her to let him be in it. Of course, she shut the door on him because it was midnight. But the next day, she woke up and saw him still waiting there. And seeing his dedication, she decided to give him warrior training. It's still a work in progress. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you something. Have you ever heard of a talking flower? And so you know all about it. The echo flower. They're all over the marsh. Say something to them, and they'll repeat it over and over. What about it? Well, Papyrus told me something interesting the other day. Sometimes, when no one else is around, a flower appears and whispers things to him. Flattery, advice, encouragement, predictions. Weird, huh? Someone must be using an echo flower to play a trick on him. And keep an eye out, okay? Thanks. Well, that was a long break. I can't believe I let you pull me away from work for that long. Oh, by the way, I'm flat broke. You foot the bill? It's just 10,000 G. Bruh, nah. Yeah, just kidding. Hey, Grumpy, put it on my tab. By the way, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. So we're just gonna not eat the burgers? Sounds is interesting. He told me about all kinds of incredible foods. But, despite his knowledge, he always orders the worst booger off the menu. Well, the capital's getting pretty crowded, so I've heard they're gonna start moving here. Yeah, I don't want to see the erasure of our local culture, but I definitely want to see some city slip. Yeah, same thing. Okay. And Sens is a sentry, but don't let his title make you think he does anything. Everyone knows he sits around the forest reading car magazines. Y'all have cars, though? Because, like, Sans is the most regular of all. He hasn't been showing up as much recently, though. Appears to be losing, same thing. Huh? Since when did you and Sans become friends? I don't like him. He loves to appear without moving. Yeah, he do be doing that. I like Sans. Sometimes he feeds us scraps of food under the table. Then his brother gets mad. But why? We're adults. We can handle it. I was hoping Sans came in to give me a pat on the head. Interloper. Sansy, come back and sit with me. Everything's so fun when you're around. Okay, same thing. This town doesn't have a mayor. But if there's ever a problem, a skeleton will tell the fish lady about it. That's politics. Hey, boo-boo. Keep forgetting we can run. So, I had to work an extra shift last night, so I actually just got back home from work, like, I I don't know, like 45 minutes maybe before it went on. Went on a little bit later than I was originally intending to. Had to fix a couple things. I usually also have it set up I usually stream at night, not in the morning. So the outside lighting's different, and it fucks with my lighting all inside here. So, also, of course, want to make sure, you know, if I try to stream that I'm actually going to have the bandwidth to do so, you know, stuff like that. Okay, same thing. Let's take it out again sometime. Alright, Sins. What does Flowey want with Papyrus? That is who Sans was talking about, right? Who else? And whatever he wants, it's certainly nothing good. You don't know that. I'm sure you can't be serious. You've seen what he's like. Maybe. Call it naive, but I'd like to believe that deep down, he cares about someone. There's a tutu lying on the ground here. Will you take it? I will take it. You're carrying too much. Ah, yes, that's right. Shiz. No response. You got the old tutu. It's full of dust. Old tutu. Armor defense 3. Finally, a protected piece of armor. You equipped the old tutu. Undyne. Hi, Undyne. I'm here with my daily report. Regarding that human I called you about earlier. Huh? Did I fight them? Yes, of course I did. I fought them valiantly. What? Did I capture them? Well, no. I tried very hard, Undyne, but in the end, I failed. What? You're gonna take the human soul yourself? But Undyne, you don't have to destroy them. You see, I understand. I'll help you in any way I can. That's what that right there is what friends are for, right? Yeah, that's it. About to get hemmed up, bro. Yeah. Yo, did you see the way she was staring at you? That was awesome! I'm so jealous! What'd you do to get her attention? Come on, let's go watch her beat up some bad guys. Soriano, thank you for the follow. How are you today? Oof. Now see, tripping and falling straight down on your chinny chin chin's gotta suck anyway, right? But at least we have hands that we can put down to kind of like catch our fall. Homie here does not have that, so he just straight eats shit. A feeling of dread hangs over you, but you stay determined. Close call back there. She might find us again. Get ready to run at a moment's notice. When Fort Bridge sees a line in the water, they will sprout. I think I got it. And by I think I got it, I mean I've done this before. It has been a while since I played, but hold on. No? Okay. I'm not even sure if this is the right area. Alright, here we go. Aaron flexes in. You flex. Aaron flex twice as hard. Attack increases for you two. Flexing contest? Okay, flex more. Aaron is ready for your next flex. Nice! I won't lose, though. Went a little too far there. Aaron is ready for your next flex. You flex. Aaron flexes very hard. He flexes himself out of the room. You won. 0 EXP and 30 gold. I already know this is not right, so before anybody says anything, I already know. But for those who don't, or never tried this, congratulations! You failed the puzzle. In case you ever wonder what that said. Check this out. Did you know you could do that? Huh? Huh? A lot of you probably did. There's a lone key sitting underneath this bench. Will you take it? I'm carrying too much. You aren't ready for the responsibility. Just wasn't ready for the responsibility. It's okay. We have a way to fix this. Manly bandana, we don't need it anymore anyway. Why would you need a manly bandana when you could wear an old tutu? You got the abandoned quiche. Hello, this is Papyrus. How did I get this number? It was easy. I just dialed every number sequentially until I got yours. So, what are you wearing? I'm asking for a friend. She thought she saw you wearing a dusty tutu. Is that true? Are you wearing a dusty tutu? I gotta say no, bro. I gotta say no. You kind of gave me up there, you know. So you aren't wearing a dusty tutu. Got it. You're my friend, so I trust you 100%. Have a nice day. A long time ago, monsters would whisper their wishes to the stars of the sky. If you hoped with all your heart, your wish would come true. Now, all we have are these sparkling stones on the ceiling. Wishing room. Thousands of people wishing together can't be wrong. The king will prove that. Washua. Attack 7, Defense 1. This humble germaphobe seeks to cleanse the whole world. Sweet. Scrub-a-dub-dubs. Ah. Smells like detergent. You ask Washua to clean you. It hops around excitedly. Green means clean. Yeah. Washua wonders if tears are sanitary. Come on, sis. Make a wish. I wish my sister and I will see the real stars someday. Ah, seems my horoscope is the same as last week's. Look through the telescope. Check wall. Whoa, this place is beautiful. You really think so? Monsterkind's dreams held beneath a fake sky? I find it quite sad. I just thought it was pretty. The wishing room. You have a wish? I have one. I wish I was talking to my cool friend. Look, it's coming true. I don't necessarily intend for my version of Papyrus, and I know my version of Papyrus isn't all that great anyway. I had to tone it down because it was really fucking up my throat, and now it sounds like Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. That wasn't where I was intending to go with it, but ancient writing covers the walls. You could just make out the words. The war of humans and monsters. Why did the humans attack? Indeed, it seemed they had nothing to fear. That's usually why humans attack. Humans are unbelievably strong. It would take the soul of nearly every monster just to equal the power of a single human soul. But humans have one weakness. Ironically, it is the strength of their soul. Its power allows it to persist outside the human body, even after death. If a monster defeats a human, they could take its soul. A monster with a human soul. A horrible beast with unfathomable power. It's an illustration of a strange creature. Something very unsettling about this drawing. My question is, how would they know this? Right? How you notice? Alright. We about to do some dodging. We about to do some dodging. We about to dodge like we Los Angeles Dodgers. Ah, shit. I did not dodge well there. Yo, your run does not work here. Running does not work in the area where running would be most useful. Yeah, it tracks. Hope everyone's having a great day today. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for checking out this stream. And as we can see, Undyne trying to go after me, but got this kid instead. Yo, did you see that? Undyne just touched me. I'm never washing my face ever again. Man, are you unlucky. If you were standing just a little bit to the left. Yo, don't worry. I'm sure we'll see her again. Boom! Eat shit. Watch your step. Undyne really cares about this grass for some reason. This cheese has been here so long, a magical crystal has grown around it. It's stuck to the table. Squeak. Squeak. Knowing the mouse might one day extract the cheese from the mystical crystal, it fills you with determination. Yo! That was it, huh? This is the extra hallway. Okay. So, if your fun value is the right number, this extra hallway may appear, what is it? There's a 1 in 100 chance that this hallway even shows up. Okay, it's just a freaking hallway, right? Again, there's only a 1 in 100 playthrough chance, at least in the regular. I don't know if Red and Yellow's changed things. But in the regular game, there's only 1 in 100 chance that this hallway appears. So if you get this hallway, there's a 1 in 10 chance that there will be a gray door right there. That means 1 out of every 1,000 playthroughs, unless you hack a bitch, unless you're a dirty hacker, there is a 1 in 1,000 chance that this hallway will be here with a gray door. If you go through that gray door, you will see a person who looks a bit deformed and has no hitbox. You can walk clean through them. If you do interact, however, they will give you a look of shock and awe, and then they will disappear. All we know about this individual is that they are called the Mystery Man. It is never there is no media in which this is confirmed, but it is very much speculated that that might be most likely Dr. W.D. Gaster, and that you found them. Let us continue. See, I go out this way, I come back, no hallway. I go back this way, the hallway's there. But there's no gray door. I wonder, though. Yo! Damn it. I may not be able to duplicate it. Shit. Yo, it is there. We have found the gray door. This, my friends, Dr. W.D. Gaster, we think. We know this is the Mystery Man. No response. Coriel's phone. Nobody picked up. This is the first time on a playthrough that I have done in which I have found the man himself, the Mystery Man. As I state, he has no hitbox. You can walk clean through it. You have no business even being here. This is an extremely rare character to find in-game. And it is also one of the game's most popular characters. There's so many things have come out about this character for a, given the fact that he barely appears in the game. And that's all you get for it. No gray door. Well, let me see something real quick, though. Yo, it appears again. How you like that? 2 Gasters in one playthrough. That's something that's got to have something to do with it being red and yellow. Alright, let's continue on. I'm thinking about getting into the telescope business. It's normally 50,000 G to use this premium telescope. But, since I know you, you can use it for free. How's about it? I already know what's about to happen, but we're about to do it anyway. For those of you who might not know, it's just a reddish orange. Why is it just a reddish orange? We can't see nothing. Huh? You aren't satisfied? Hey, don't worry. I'll give you a full refund of the nothing we paid. Look at that mark on Frisk's eye. Ah, you got pranked, nerd. What's a star? Can you touch it? I wouldn't suggest it. Can you eat it? Probably not. You have to have a big fucking appetite. Not to mention, it's one spicy meatball. Can you kill it? Possibly. Are you a star? Yes. Yes, I am. I am a star. I am the star, homie. Relocated my store, but there are still no customers. Fortunately, I've thought of a solution. Punch cards! Every time you buy an ice cream, you can take a punch card from the box. If you have 3 cards, you can trade them for a free ice cream. They're sure to get the customers to come back. Ice cream is the frozen treat that warms your heart. Now just 25G. Not right now. Well then, tell your friends. There's ice cream hidden in the depths of a watery cavern. The box for storing punch cards. It's empty right now. The ancient glyphs have been painted over with a list of 21 different flavors. If you go this way, you see this little bird here. Now, we can't interact with it right now, but maybe later on. You hear a passing conversation. So, don't you have any wishes to make? You hear a passing conversation. Just one, but it's kind of stupid. You walk into Moat Mall. I spare Moat Mall. A pair of ballet shoes. Will you take it? Carrying too much. I can't run any longer. Somebody, anybody. This is... Clover recognizes them. And do we really need the ballet shoes? Use the box? Yes. I will set aside the abandoned quiche. You got the ballet shoes. Ballet shoes. Weapon. Attack 7. These used shoes make you feel incredibly dangerous. You equip ballet shoes. Ballet shoes and an old tutu. Hello, would you like some ice cream? It's the frozen treat that warms your heart. Now just 25G. Super! Here you go. Your card's in the box. You got the ice cream. Box contains 1 card. Take a card. You're carrying too much. It's okay, we don't need it right now anyway. Hello, this is Papyrus. Remember when I asked you about clothes? Well, a friend who wanted to know, her opinion of you is very murdery. Well, worry not, dear human. Papyrus would never betray you. You said you were not wearing a dusty tutu. So, of course, I actually told her you were indeed wearing a dusty tutu. Fucking Papyrus. You paid me to tell such a bald-faced lie. But since you aren't wearing a dusty tutu, she surely won't attack you. Now you are safe and sound. Wowie, this is hard. I just want to be everybody's friend. You hear a passing conversation. Don't say that. Come on, I promise I won't laugh. They're gonna laugh. We will spare Mode Smalls. The power to take their souls. This is the power that the humans feared. Paschetti. Isn't that Paschetti? It's Onion-san. Hey there. Noticed you were here. I'm Onion-san. Onion-san, you here? You're visiting Waterfall, huh? It's great here, huh? You love it, huh? Yeah, me too. It's my big favorite. Even though the water's getting so shallow here, I have to sit down all the time, but... Hey, that's okay. It beats moving to the city and living in a crowded aquarium. Like all my friends did. But any aquarium's full anyway, so even if I wanted to, That's okay, though, you hear? Undyne's gonna fix everything, you hear? I'm gonna get out of here and live in the ocean, you hear? Hey, there. That's the end of this room. I'll see you around. Have a good time. In Waterfall. We'll see you again in Deltarune, my friend. Chiron hides in the corner, but somehow encounters you anyway. Chiron, attack 8, defense 4. Tone deaf, she's too ashamed to sing her deadly song. Toot. Chiron hums very faintly. You hum a sad song. Chiron follows your melody. See. Chiron seems much more comfortable singing along. You hum some more. Monsters are drawn to the music. Suddenly, it's a concert! Sifa, Sifa. Sans is selling tickets made of toilet paper. You hum some more. The seats are sold out. You feel like a rock star. Miso, miso, mi la siso. crowd tosses clothing. It's a storm of socks. You hum some more, but the constant attention. The tours, the groupies. It's all aggressive tooting. Siren thinks about her future. You give a darling smile and a little wink. The crowd goes wild. Well, that's what we're here for, right? That's what we're here to do. We are here to please the crowd. We please the crowd, right? We rock the crowd, and we send them home happy. You're spared. 30 gold. The northern room hides a great treasure. Ah, yes. A haunting song echoes down the corridor. Won't you play along? Only the first 8 are fine. There's a piano here. Play it. Oh. Okay. Trying to remember. No. Damn it. No. Damn it. No. That wasn't it? No, that wasn't it. come back to it. This power has no counter. Indeed, a human cannot take a monster's soul. When a monster dies, its soul disappears. An incredible power would be needed to take the soul of a living monster. There is only one exception. The soul of a special species of monster called a boss monster. A boss monster's soul is strong enough to persist after death, if only for a few moments. A human could absorb this soul, but this has never happened, and now it never will. It's a statue. The structures at its feet seem dry. Hey, what's it doing here? You tell me. You took an umbrella. You place the umbrella atop the statue. Inside the statue, a music box begins to play. This is... Dot up. Dot up. Dot up, right, dot down, down, right. Dot. That was close. Dot up, right, dot down, down, right, dot up, right. There we go. There's something annoying about this room. It's a legendary artifact. Will you take it? You're carrying too much. I will use the nice cream. Love yourself. I love you. Your HP was maxed out. It's a legendary artifact. Will you take it? You're carrying too many dogs. Annoying dog. Annoying dog. Dog. A little white dog. It's fast asleep. Oh, okay. You deployed the dog. The dog absorbs the artifact. The artifact is gone. Dog residue. Dog item. Glowing crystals secreted by a dog. The music continues and doesn't stop. Kind of sad, isn't it? Isn't it? Oh. The hell? See, if you're not in the window, then it will not respond to your button presses. Take one. You took an umbrella. Chara's reflection. That's different. Normally, anytime you see Chara in game, Chara has this big, huge, evil smile. This looks kind of normal right there. Yo, you got an umbrella? Awesome! Let's go. Yo. That's, Chara and Nazriel. I like that addition. That is pretty awesome, actually. Man, Untied is so cool. She beats up bad guys and never loses. If I was a human, I'd went to bed every night, knowing she was gonna beat me up. So, one time, we had a school project where we had to take care of a flower. The king, we had to call him Mr. Dreamer, volunteered to donate his own flowers. He ended up coming to school and teaching the class about responsibility and stuff. And that got me thinking, yo, how cool would it be if Undyne came to school? She could beat up all the teachers. I mean, I don't know if that would be cool. Maybe she wouldn't beat up the teachers. She's too cool to ever hurt an innocent person. Kid, she's trying to fucking kill me. I always like this part. Wonder, does the Chara dance work here? Yeah. No, it just makes you go forward. Okay. Also, it may not work on, yeah, that might not work on the, I'm having to use a Steam input and mapping the keys to the controller, so it might not work anyway. Oh well. Turn the umbrella. You return the umbrella. It's still ringing. Yo, this ledge is way too steep. Yo, you want to see Undyne, right? Climb on my shoulders. Yo, you go on ahead. Don't worry about me. I always find a way to get through. Bah! You don't find a way to stay on your feet, though, bro. You always find a way to eat shit. The humans, afraid of our power, declared war on us. They attacked suddenly and without mercy. Yeah, we do be doing that. The serene sound of a distant music box, it fills you with determination. In the end, it could hardly be called a war. United, the humans were too powerful and us monsters too weak. Not a single soul was taken, and countless monsters were turned to dust. Wang, wang, wang. Wait, what? Wait, hold up. Ah, that's bullshit. I was not touching it. There is no way to avoid that. Damn, I don't remember where to go. Cheers. God damn. Yo, this shit is... This shit is definitely more intense than the original, than regular Undertale, that's for damn sure. Fudge! Yo, that was significantly more intense. I know, I do remember it speeding up, but Jeebus. Made it though. Sounds like it came from over here. Oh, you've fallen down, haven't you? Are you okay? Here, get up. Chara, huh? That's a nice name. My name is... You okay? If you keep falling like that, you just might beat my record. Still, looks like we lost her. This place. I recognize it somehow. It's like... that memory back there. It was yours, wasn't it, Chara? It was. It was the moment I fell. I'd rather not talk about it. Piles of garbage. There are quite a few brands you recognize. Waterfall seems to flow from the ceiling of the cavern. Occasionally, a piece of trash will flow through and fall into the bottomless abyss below. Viewing this endless cycle of worthless garbage, it fills you with determination. Okay. You rest your hand on the rusted bike. Its horn wheezes a honk of despair. Piles of garbage, quite a few, okay. Just gonna go ahead and use a cinnamon bun. Because it's cooler. It has no brand and shows no signs of wear. Inside are a couple of freeze-dried space food bars. Take one? Yes. You got the astronaut food. It's a DVD case for an anime. Desperate claw marks cover the edges. Seems like a regular training dummy. You want to beat it up? You stare into each other's eyes for a moment. Ta-da! Ha ha ha! Too intimidated to fight me, huh? I am a ghost that lives inside a dummy. My cousin used to live inside a dummy too. Until you. Shucks, you were really boring. They got annoyed and flew away like any self-respecting specter. Well then. Boring people are crumbs sticking out of the face of this world. Sticking to the face of this world. Human! I'll wipe you away with this dainty handkerchief of vengeance. I will be back in just a moment. But, like, this is a friggin' banger, so I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it on this right now. I'll be right back. Told you this was a banger. I knew the seat was going to give me so much damn trouble. But alright, let's take on Mad Dummy. Attack 9. Defense, yes. Because they're a ghost, physical attacks will fail. Feeble, feeble, feeble! Ow, you dummies! Watch where you're aiming your magic attacks. Hey, you! Forget I said anything about magic. Mad Dummy is looking nervous. You talk to the dummy. It doesn't seem much for conversation. No one is happy with this. I'll defeat you and take your soul. Oh. Smells like a clothing store. Talk to the dummy. Doesn't seem much for conversation. No one is happy with this. I'll use your soul to cross the barrier. Mad Dummy glares into a mirror, then turns to you with the same expression. Use one half of the bicycle. Your HP was maxed out. I'll stand in the window of a fancy store. Oops. Mad Dummy is getting cotton all over the dialogue box. Then everything I want will be mine! Mad Dummy is getting cotton all over the dialogue box. Huh? Yeah, I guess that'll avenge my cousin. Ah, Mad Dummy is getting... Yeah. What was their name again? Whatever! Futile! Feeble! Hey, guys! Dummies! Remember how I said not to shoot at me? Well... Failures! You're fired! You're all being replaced! Now you'll see my true power. Relying on people that aren't garbage. Mechanical whirs fill the room. I mean, relying on people who aren't garbage are typically more reliable than people who are garbage. Dummy bots! Magic missile! Ah. Mad Dummy is bossing around its bullets. Dummy bots, try again! You read the unicycle. Your HP was maxed out. Dummy bots, you're awful? Mad Dummy is doing an armless ska dance. Dummy bots, final attack! Shit. Ah! No way. These guys are even worse than the other guys. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? I don't need friends. I've got knives. I'm out of knives. But it doesn't matter. You can't hurt me and I can't hurt you. You'll be stuck fighting me. Forever. 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 What the heck is this? Acid rain? Oh, forget it. I'm out of here. Naps the blood. Sorry. I interrupted you, didn't I? As soon as I came over, your friend immediately left. Oh no. You guys looked like you were having fun. Oh no. I just wanted to say hi. Oh no. Well, I'm gonna head home now. Oh, feel free to come with if you want. But no pressure. I understand if you're busy. It's fine. No worries. Just thought I'd offer. You got the astronaut hood. Where's empty? Hey, my house is up here. In case you want to see. Or in case you don't. You feel a calming tranquility. You're filled with determination. And if you go this way, here's that bird. Why am I looking over at my freaking microphone? My microphone's over here, right? So basically, the bird will carry you across and you can go back to those areas that you can't directly access now. Doesn't seem like anybody's home. What? 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 It's a living. Do what you gotta do, bro. All right. Let's get back. Well, first, I suck at gaming and drink cola. Yippee! But it's not Cola Coca. It's Zero Pepsi. Zero Pepsi Cola. All right, back to it. Oh, you really came. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that. It's not much, but make yourself at home. This CD is labeled Spook Tunes. Play it. This CD is labeled Spookwave. What the heck is that music? I don't know, dude, but it's spooking me out. This is worse than Shyren. No way, Shyren's way less scary. If you're so scared, why do you keep waking? These are weeks of fear. Forget it. This beat is too filthy. Wash! Wait! Don't leave me! Is this creepy music my punishment for being creepy? Yeah. Please, stop. I'll never creep again. Wah! That's somebody else's. Wah! You can't just. Ghoul-a-day music. It's a spider web. There's a flyer for a bake sale on it. Oh, this one. Once you learn the lyrics, it's hard not to sing along. Ooh, 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 ooh. Dang, that ambience. It's like my whole body is being spooked. Oh, a classic spook tune. They don't make songs like this anymore. Okay. Oh, that's my TV. There's a show I like to watch on it sometimes. The computer's internet browser is open to a music sharing forum. The computer's okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, are you hungry? I can get you something to eat. This is a ghost sandwich. You want to try it? You attempt to bite into the ghost sandwich. You phase right through it. Oh, never mind. After a great meal, I like to lie on the ground and feel like garbage. Same. I mean, that's just what you do, right? You have a great meal and then you lie on the ground and feel like garbage. It's a family tradition. Do you want to join me? Hell yeah, let's do it. Okay, follow my lead. Here we go. You'll lie down as long as you don't move. So, only move around when you want to get up, I guess. Laying around, feeling like garbage, contemplating our life, the stars of the universe. It do be like that. It do be like that. The hell? Get out my damn can. Alright, well. Well, that was nice. Thank you. I'm gonna keep working on that mix CD. Alright, bro. Take care. Look inside the fridge. It's empty. It's locked. It's a snail. For some reason, you can't help but wonder what it tastes like. Snail, snail. A long journey extends in front of you. Snail, snail. Reach far and stretch beyond the horizons. Snail, snail. So snaileth Sam Boyle. I've been long overdue for a second house. This snail is counting dollar bills. Now, you can't actually possibly win this, unfortunately. You want to play a game? It's called Thunder Snail. The snails will race, and if the yellow snail wins, you win. It's 10G to play. Okay, press Z repeatedly to encourage your snail. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Race end. Oh, looks like you encouraged your snail too much. All that pressure to succeed really got to her. Oh. It'd be like that. Awkward. I'm working right now. I mean, woke up to Bluke Family Snail Farm. Yeah, I'm the only employee. This place used to get a lot of business, but our main customer disappeared one day. Now it's just some hairy guy that shows up once a month. I'm visiting Waterfall from the city. Synchronicity? My neighbor's daughter looks about your age. Her name is Susie. I feel like you two should be friends. You have a neighbor's blessing. Not knowing where I live is no issue. Fate finds a way. In life's grand scheme, she might be why you came here in the first place. Susie might be why you came here in the first place. I wonder if that's, I wonder if that's any clue as to the future of Deltarune. Hey, wait a gosh darn minute. It just occurred to me I don't know your name. You've come this far, dated a skeleton, and nobody asked for your name. How rude. So, what is your name? Frisk, huh? It's a pleasure. Greetings. Glad to have made your acquaintance. That sounds like Chara. Not yet. Okay. Excuse me. Well, there, I've got some neat... Oh, there, I've got some neat junk for sale. Huh, I'm trying to get rid of my junk, not get more of it. Though, I've heard if you want to sell stuff, the Temmie Village is your best bet. Where is it? I don't remember. Don't be shy now. Excuse me. Anything you want to know? About yourself. I've been around a long time, maybe too long. Studying history sure is easy when you've lived through so much of it yourself. The other humans? What's that? If I've met any other previous humans, it wasn't too long ago, so I remember it clearly. Have you heard about the dunes? You'd have to go pretty far off the beaten path to come across it. Real barren, that place. Almost as bad as Hotland. I was off collecting wares for this here shop, you see, when all of a sudden, wham! The way I came through suddenly caved in. Soon after, this kid appears out of nowhere, and I start chit-chatting. Nice youngin', that was. Looked ecstatic when I told him I was known as the Hammer of Justice. Soon after that, word spread that the king was only one soul away from breaking the barrier. Wasn't hard to put two and two together. That emblem. Eh? You don't know what that is? What are they teaching you kids at school nowadays? Ha ha ha! That's the Delta Rune, the emblem of our kingdom. The kingdom of monsters. Great name, huh? As I always say, old King Fluffy Buns can't name for beans. Emblem's meaning. That emblem actually predates written history. Its original meaning has been lost to time. All we know is that the triangle symbolizes us monsters below, and the winged circle above symbolizes something else. Most people say it's the angel from the prophecy. The prophecy. Oh yeah, the prophecy. Legend has it, an angel who has seen the surface will descend from above and bring us freedom. Lately, the people have been taking a bleaker outlook, calling that winged angel circle the angel of death, a harbinger of destruction, waiting to free us from this mortal realm. In my opinion, when I see that little circle, I just think it looks neat. The king. King Fluffy Buns? He's a friendly, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. If you keep walking around long enough, you'll probably meet him. He loves to walk around and talk to people. Eh? Why do I call Dreamer Fluffy Buns? Oh, that's a great story. Yeah, I don't remember it. But it came back much later. I'm sure I'll have remembered it by then. About Undyne. Undyne? Yeah, she's a local hero around here. Through grit and determination alone, she fought her way to the top of the Royal Guard. Actually, she just came through here asking about someone who looked just like you. I'd watch your back, kid, and buy some items. Might just save your hide. Be careful out there, kid. Fool me. Hurt, beaten, and fearful for our lives, we surrendered to the humans. 7 of their greatest magicians sealed us underground with a magic spell. Anything can enter through the seal, but only beings with a powerful soul can leave. There is only one way to reverse the spell. If a huge power, equivalent to 7 human souls, attacks the barrier, it will be destroyed. But this cursed place has no entrances or exits. There is no way a human could come here. We will remain trapped down here forever. Special enemy Timmy appears here to defeat you. Timmy! Timmy, rated 10 out of 10. Loves to pet cute humans, but you're allergic. Oh my god, humans, too cute! Dies. Timmy forgot her other attack. You say hello to Timmy. Hoi, I'm Timmy. Timmy forgot her other attack. Timmy accidentally misspells her own name. Now, where do we go to get to Tem Village? Hoi, welcome to Tem Village. Hoi, I'm Timmy. And this my friend, Timmy. Hoi, I'm Timmy. And this my friend, Timmy. Hoi, I'm Timmy. Don't forget my friend. Hi, I'm Bob. a Tem on a dragon. Rich history of Tem. Hoi, you should check out Tem Shop. Yeah, I agree. Should check Tem Shop. Ow. Humans, such a cute. Tim, watch egg. Egg will hatch. Tim, proud parent. It's hard-boiled. Statue of Tim. Very famous. Very. Feeling of being watched. Mushroom dance. Mushroom dance. Whatever could it mean? It symbolizes my inner torment, trapped here by my hyphae. My struggle to pull away. My struggle to escape. But alas, to no avail. Tim hurt human allergics to Tim. Yeah, okay. Tim understand. Tim also allergic to Tim. Hoives. Use the box. Yes. Okay, so just to free up a spot here. Hoi, welcome to the Tim Shop. Hoi, I'm Timmy. Hoi, I'm Timmy. About yourself. Hoi, I'm Timmy. Timmy history. Most Tims have a deep history. About shop. Yeah, go to the Tim Shop. Whoa! You got a toy knives? I gotta have the toy knives, but I gotta pay for collect. Tim always want toy knives. Tim buy toy knife for 101G? No. But, okay, Tim buy toy knife for 128G. Yeah. Thanks, purchase. Mandana. I forget how many times you have to go through to... Dang it. Hold on. I might have to exit. Tim buy ribbon for 100G? Yeah. Thanks, purchase. Boy. You used the dog residue. The rest of your inventory filled up with dog residue. Nice, got 3 dog salads out of it. Whoa! You got a dog salads? I gotta have the dog salads. But I gotta pay for culling. I just sold you one. Tim always want dog salads. For 9G? No. But. Okay, Tim buy dog salad for 13G. Yeah. Thanks, purchase. Hold on. No. Actually, hold on. Not yet. Okay. Later on, that opens up. All right. Dog residue. Whoa! You got a dog residues? You gotta have the dog residues. But I gotta pay for culling. Tim always want red dog residues. For 5G, no. But, me? For 8G, yeah. You feel something. You're filled with determination. Alright. Now I can keep doing this, but let's go to, we need to do. glove also. Actually. Torn Notebook. Weapon Attack 2 contains ineligible scrolls. Increases invincibility by 6. We want that. Armor Defense 2. Glasses marred with wear. Increases invincibility by 9. After you get hurt by an attack, you stay invulnerable for longer. Equip the glasses. Check out them new glasses right there, huh? Gumi. Tough glove. Yeah. Torn Notebook. Yeah. Thanks, purchase. Oh, you got a 10 flicks? You gotta have the 10 flicks, but you gotta pay for college. Yeah. What we'll do is we go back to Gerson's shop over here. Gerson Boom. Now we come back over to Temp Shop. Yeah, we go to Temp Shop. Okay. Apparently, running fudges with that. Okay. Okay, so I don't think torn notebook's actually doing anything. Means it's the cloudy glasses. Okay. Cloudy glasses is the one you want to use. Now I know. Or I guess I should say now I remember. So I was actually costing myself money there. That's okay. We will get that back in a jiff. Whoa! You got cloud glass? I gotta have that cloud glass, but I gotta pay for cutting. No. See? Yeah. So that's where I botched. It's the cloudy glasses itself at the same price. So torn notebook, you're costing yourself 5 gold each time. Whoa! Got a cloud glass? Back over here. Back to Tim Shop. Go back to Tim Shop. Yeah. All the damn money that you, okay. All the money that you have, spent buying these cloudy glasses for me, you could have went to college. Get a degree in Tim studies. Yeah. Get a degree in Tim studies. Yeah. Got a clock glass? Hmm? Yeah, yeah. Hope everybody's having a great day today. Now this will probably be my last trip here. So I'll have enough to pay for Tim Cullig, and then after I pay for Tim Cullig, then they learn to sell new item. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, purchase. 10 pay for Cullig. 5 for 1,000 G. Yeah, yeah. Whoa! That's a lot of muns. Can Tim really accept cookies? Tim go to Cullig and make you proud. You left your face. I do that sometimes, you know. I mean, with this face, you want to leave it behind, right? Tim back from Kool-Aid. Tim learned many things. Learn to sell new item. Yeah, yeah. Now, I'm not going to get it right now, obviously, and I'm not going to go... I would not go to the trouble of going back and forth to get 6,000 G on stream. It took long enough to get to 1,000, right? But yeah, for that you can get Timmy armor. You don't have the muns. Boy. All right. Let's see. I am 2.5 hours in, so just over 2.5 hours. So probably play for another half hour more or so. You walk into Mo Small. Something's off. Mold Small. Attack 4, defense 0. It's a slime mold. Mold Small is very normal. You approach Mold Small. Suddenly... Whoa! Smells like a bait shop. Mold Big. Attack 7, defense 4. One size greater than mold average. Slime sounds. Whoa! You don't hug Moldbig. It appreciates your respect of its boundaries. Moldbig seems comfortable with your presence. You lie down. Moldbig lies down too. Moldbig understands life now. Oh. 20 gold. Without candles or magic to guide them home, the monsters use crystals to navigate. Joshua and Aaron appear. I leave. Okay. Behind you. Undying. Seven human souls. With the power of 7 human souls, our king, King Asgore Dreamer, will become a god. With that power, Asgore could finally shatter the barrier. He will finally take the sufferers back from humanity and give them back the suffering and pain we have endured. Understand, human? This is your only chance at redemption. Give up your soul, or I'll tear it from your body. Undying, I'll help you fight. Excuse me. Yo! You did it! Undying is right in front of you. You've got front row seats to her fight. Wait. Who's she fighting? Hey! You're not going to tell my parents about this, are you? You hear a passing conversation. If I say my wish, you promise you won't laugh at me? You hear a passing conversation. Of course I won't laugh. You hear a passing conversation. Someday, I'd like to climb this mountain we're all buried under, standing under the sky, looking at the world all around. That's my wish. You hear laughter. Hey, you said you wouldn't laugh at it. You'll probably have to face her soon. If survival is your priority, running away might be your best bet. Yeah, there's no shame in a tactical retreat. Hear a passing conversation. Sorry, it's just funny. That's my wish too. However, there is a prophecy. The angel, the one who has seen the surface, they will return, and the underground will go empty. Yo! Yo, I know I'm not supposed to be here, but I want to ask you something. Man, I've never had to ask anyone this before. Yo, you're human, right? Last I checked, kid. I'll admit it's been a minute. I'll admit it's been a minute since I checked, but yeah, last I checked. Man, I knew it. Well, I know it now, I mean. And Dad told me, stay away from that human. So, like, I guess that makes us enemies or something? But I kinda stink at that. Yo, say something mean so I can hate you. Please? Huh? Yo, that's your idea of something mean? My sister says that to me all the time. Guess I have to do it. Yo, I hate your guts. Man, I'm such a turd. I'm gonna go home now. Yo, wait, help! I tripped! Yo, dude. If you want to hurt my friend, you're gonna have to get through me first. Undyne backed away. She's gone. Yo, you really saved my skin. I guess being enemies is just a nice thought. I guess we'll just have to be friends instead. Man, I should really go home. I bet my parents are worried sick about me. Later, dude. Undyne might be stronger than anyone I faced. I don't know. Soroba was a fucking pain in the ass. She's captain for a reason. You better be ready. You've got this. Seven, human souls and King Asgore will become a god. 6. That's how many we have collected thus far. Understand? Through your 7th and final soul, this world will be transformed. First, however, as is customary for those who make it this far, I shall tell you the tragic tale of our people. It all started long ago. No, you know what? Screw it! Why should I tell you that story when you're about to die? Yeah! You're standing in the way of everybody's hopes and dreams. Alfie's history books made me think humans were cool. With their giant robots and flowery swordswomen. But you're just a coward. Hiding behind that kid so you can run away from me again? And let's not forget your wimpy goody two-shoes stick. Oh, I'm making such a difference by hugging random strangers. You know what would be more valuable to everyone? If you were dead! That's right, human. Your continued existence is a crime. Your life is all that stands between us and our freedom. Right now, I can feel everyone's hearts pounding together. Everyone's been waiting their whole lives for this moment. But we're not nervous at all. When everyone puts their hearts together, they can't lose. Now, human, let's end this. Right here, right now. I'll show you how determined monsters can be. Step forward when you're ready. Alright. Major boss fight time. That's it then! No more running away! Here I come! On guard! Undying attacks. Undying, attack 10, defense 20. The heroine that never gives up. As long as you're green, you can't escape. Unless you learn to face danger head on. You won't last a second against me. Undying flips her spear impatiently. Not bad. Then how about this? Undying flips her spear impatiently. For years we dreamed of a happy ending. Undying suplexes a huge boulder just because she can. And now sunlight is just within our reach. Undying flips her spear impatiently. This is also one of my favorite tracks from this game. Because you go back and forth between chiptune and orchestral. I won't let you snatch it away from us. You told Undying you didn't want to fight, but nothing happened. Yeah, enough warming up. Oh shit. I went right into it. I went right into it. Chara, is this a kind of joke? Cut it out. Wake up. I went right into the goddamn spear. I never get hit by that spear. I went right into it. How about this? Undying thinks of her friends that pounds the ground with her fists. Won't let you snatch it away from us. The damn run doesn't work again. Again, this was where it would actually be useful. Honestly, I'm doing you a favor. No human has ever made it past Asgore. Killing you now is an act of mercy. Stop being so damn resilient. Oh, shit. You've escaped from me for the last time. Alphas told me humans were determined. I see now what she meant by that. But I'm determined too. Determined to end this right now. Right now! Right now! Haha! Yeah, die already, you little brat! Fucking Papyrus! Hey, what's up? I was just thinking, you, me, and Undyne should all hang out sometime. I think you would make great pals. I don't think so. Not at the moment, anyway. Let's meet up at her house later. Stop running away! Sans taking a nap. Ha! The fact that Sans was taking a nap actually caught her off guard. She's like, this lazy motherfucker right here. Armor so hot, but I can't give up. It's a water cooler. Take a cup of water? Yes. You take a cup of water. Give Undyne the water. Nice one, partner. You might just make it to the end. Wait, that building, is it? It is. Seeing such a strange laboratory in a place like this, you're filled with determination. All right. I think that is going to be the end of stream for today. Thank you for the follow, Soriano. Let me look, see who we want to raid out to. Who is on right now? Who is on? Who's doing the damn thing right now? Okay, I have a raid target in mind. We're going to raid out to my friend Beergood. Beergood, playing World of Warships. So we're going to go ahead and start raid here. I do want to say to anybody watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching on VOD, thank you for doing so. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate the followers. Hopefully we can get affiliate here pretty soon. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Looking to be back on Tuesday night. So we're going to raid out to Beergood right now. My name's Joseph, and we are out this bitch.